Hello, everybody. This is Rachel here with Onchain Media. Super excited for another podcast episode. We are just continuing to grow and bring on amazing guests like Joe from LunarCrush. And I'm so excited to talk to you, Joe, and hear about more about your story. What got you into the space? What got you into LunarCrush? Joe just flew out from SoCal to come to the Bay Area for an event we did with Coinbase and Base. And yeah, Joe is just a mover and shaker. He's been around for a minute. So yeah, Joe, without further ado, I'd love to pass it off to you as the CEO and founder of LunarCrush. Would love to hear your introduction, who you are, what got you into the space, and your role at LunarCrush.
Well, Rachel, thank you for having me, and it was super fun to meet you up at in Berkeley. What a fun, just crew of people, all focused on small business and building on chain. So happy to, was happy to get up there, and the opportunity from you was great. So thank you, and yeah, thanks for having me on the show as well. This is a fun experience to always, meet people in new communities that are building and are so excited about, building on chain, like I can tell you are. But yeah, my story, starts back in 2015. My co-founder, John, and we were working together, building websites and apps. And he came up to me one day and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "You got any Bitcoin?" That's pretty much the beginning of the journey. And, I think I got my first Bitcoin at it was like $195. And then, I think I sold it at like 170.
Wow.
But, as that story goes with anything, just kind of read the white paper and just kind of fell in love with, this, kind of convergence of, money and finance on the, and the internet together. And, you can kind of I just gave this talk down at Cape Canaveral at NASA. Actually got to teach an astronaut or two about Bitcoin and how it works. But really, that what you realize is that Bitcoin was kind of the first time that money became real on the internet. And explaining blockchain is always a difficult thing, to make it simple. But once you really kind of figure out what a blockchain is, and Bitcoin specifically, and how it's built for the people, it is censor resistant. Then you just kind of fall in love with all of the different things that could happen, on chain and in this economy. And, then Ethereum came out. It was like 2017. And, we finally kind of looked at each other. John and I were like, we've got to build something in this space. We want to be experts. And the only way that you can kind of become an expert is to kind of just jump into the deep end of the pool and figure out, how to build something. And so really that's what it started with LunarCrush. We were looking at all these different coins that were coming out, and, back then it was Vert coin and all these crazy things. And, there were no earnings reports. There are no 10Ks. There's no real way to delineate value. Some of these things didn't have founders. They were public blockchains. And so, how do you invest in something like that? And for us, it really always came down to the community. We kind of coined this phrase early on at LunarCrush, without a community, there is no crypto.
Amen that really to that.
Yeah, speaks true. And, we were out there, before Wall Street bets and all that stuff really became big, and just started building and, looked at all the data across places X was really the first place. At the time it was Twitter. All these projects are launching, and what's the buzz online about these things, and who are the people talking about them, and which influencers it was at the time. Now we say the word creator, is focused on it.
I like that a lot better.
Yeah. It was always just influencers, right? But I think there's a difference between a creator and an influencer even, but everyone wants to be a creator. It seems like no one wants to be an influencer anymore. So yeah, we just started building, and, we brought in, we talked to our other friend, Dan, and we're like, "Hey man, do you think we could, how do we get this data, and how do we organize it, and how does it make sense?" And so really what we were looking for is which communities kind of had this groundswell over time of growth. And that was, to us, said hey, that means more people are talking about a project, more people are joining that community, more people are gravitating towards it. Maybe, on-chain data with one thing, and how many wallets are created is a way to kind of understand what's going on, but also how kind of passionate are these people, about what they're building, and who's bringing developers to those communities, and what's going on. And so we really wanted to create transparency in the industry. And so we were kind of one of the first people out there building, on social media for that. And so that was, we launched LunarCrush in 2018. We did a Techstars program, a startup accelerator, in 2019. which is now 5 years ago, which is just feels like a lifetime, of operating a business in this industry. And at the time though, it's like, I didn't know anything, I just knew that the people in the industry reminded me of a lot of like my friends that like were gamers in the day. And like,
Nice.
we had a lot of fun and they were super smart. And so I was like, oh man, this is where all like my cool friends are building. I want to be building something here too. And then,
People, yeah.
yeah, I just fell in love with it. And, here we are, 5 years later and, still building and still as excited about, the industry as we've ever been.
I love it. I mean, so it sounds like, you started out like all of us, right? Not knowing much, but you continued to show up, you continue to learn, to innovate and get to the point you're at today. And, LunarCrush is a name I've heard over the years since I got involved in crypto. Like, you guys have consistently been showing up and, you've survived several cycles. So, I mean, you just have healthy indicators of a project that, is really doing the right things to stick around long term. So I really love that. I am curious if you can kind of give a high level overview. Okay. Like, what is LunarCrush? What does it do? And who does it serve?
Yeah. So in short, we're a social media listening tool, I would say. But, we've expanded, outside of crypto since we've started. So we kind of say, we're almost like Google search for social media. So Google is kind of searching the internet and crawling and trying to give you those, 10 blue links. Obviously, there's a lot more going on with AI nowadays and what they're trying to kind of surface to you with knowledge panels and everything. But we're trying to do something kind of similar, but with social media. We want people to be able to kind of quickly understand what's trending, what are the topics, what's happening. And, with social data, you're serving a lot of different customers, right? People can log into LunarCrush. It's $30 a month or $24 a month if you pay annually. And you're going to get access to, all of the cryptocurrency data, all of the stock data, and then all of these topics and categories. We're following the NFL, we're following the Premier League, we're following UFC, we're following Formula One, and we are following all of the different creators and the people that are talking about these things. And so if you're a person that really wants to kind of have your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the world, LunarCrush is a great place to come and understand and kind of distill the signal through all the noise. I mean, my God, the spam that's out there on social media is incredible. And so it's how do you understand what's going on? And we kind of take care of that for you. And then if you're a builder in the space and you want to, get access to a lot of the same data that we build LunarCrush with, we have an API. And so, a lot of companies and hedge funds are building with our API, like Coinbase is a customer of ours. They utilize our data to kind of like help, build out some of the explore pages, and they, get better SEO from having cool search terms on there that, what's trending, how do you drive people to your pages? Even, Kraken utilizes our API data for that. OKX, so a lot of the large like exchanges in our industry. We have an enterprise partnership with Google. And so our, Google has like Web3 data in their marketplace today. And so, they're taking a step into what's going on and kind of supporting our journey as well. And so, these are partnerships we forged over the years, and so like, if you want to build on social data or you want to see insights of social data, LunarCrush is the place for you.
Amen to that. I mean, hey, you were just giving me a walkthrough and I was like, wow, I had no idea how helpful this could be for someone like me, who's a podcaster, who's a content creator, who's going out there. I'm trying to build a legacy and build a following. And the fact that like you took me through and showed me all the things I could do, it's like, I had no idea. So I'm so stoked to be here, giving this education to others to show them what's possible and show them what they can do. And something you said too about the spam out there, and an idea popped in my head, or a question rather. Is there a way for people to use LunarCrush to differentiate between organic activity and bot activity? Because that would be really awesome if possible.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your use case and what you're trying to understand. If you're looking, say you're an investor and you're like, hey, I want to invest in the new meme coins on Base, right? And that all of these projects are being launched and there's, how many different projects are going to be launched every single day. You're trying to understand what's real, what's not. You can kind of query LunarCrush and, we have those assets on there. You're going to be able to see who all the top creators are that are out there. And if you go and tap on a creator and you see, oh, wow, this is like the first couple of days that they posted something, maybe they already have, 40,000 followers. You're like, I wonder how they got those followers, right? So it's kind of, for us, it's creating that transparency. We even have a feature that, we're going to be bringing back where we showcase each creator what assets they're actually talking about.
Mhm.
So it's like I've got old screenshots of, when SBF was, out there, and
No.
we knew exactly what he was posting about,
Oh
right?
my
And like
God.
he wasn't, posting about Bitcoin nearly as much as like all the other kind of like leaders in the industry were. And it
Mhm.
just kind of gave you a little bit of a tidbit of what type of personality that is, which it's like talking about like different tokens and talking about the tokens that like, he held a large supply of. And so,
Mhm.
you just by understanding social media in this way and kind of creating this transparency, people just have a deeper insight into what's really happening out there. And so you as a creator can go see your creator page and see how your followers are doing and everything else. But, if you're the, head of data science at Skechers, you can also pull every single one of your product lines and see what's happening there. And so there's just a lot to build on social media.
I mean, this is absolutely wonderful. So part of my question was who this is for, who does it serve, right? So not only does it serve the creators, the content creators, the influencers and KOL types, but this also serves companies, right? And organizations that are looking to leverage these types of individuals. Because now, I mean, I imagine with LunarCrush, you can go in and see, okay, like there's this really unorganic spike of activity and this doesn't look right. Like I'm sure there's kind of markers, right, where you could tell like that's not right, that's got to be paid or something. So I think that's really positive for people to have that transparency, to know whether they actually have this organic following or if it's a bunch of bots or paid followers. So is that something you've seen companies use LunarCrush to figure out?
Yeah, that people are trying to identify who to partner with, right? And the same way as you try to understand like an asset that you're trying to invest in, does it kind of have like a groundswell, like a nice kind of like linear line upwards of activity, kind of like how I was showing, your
Yeah,
page.
I mean,
Um,
we can pull that up here in a minute because I like this blew my
yeah,
mind, you guys.
yeah.
Like the fact that this is out here, it's just such a empowering tool for creators and organizations, and it kind of like goes back to the ethos of decentralization and Web3 in the on-chain space, right? Transparency, and now what Joey here has created is a way for you to see, the transparency on the social side of things. So yeah, Joe, I would love for you to kind of walk folks through this because this is so cool. And yeah, I mean, for those of you watching, I have like solely believed in growing my following organically. It has been a slow drip, you guys. Like I've done over 300 Twitter spaces in my career. This is my second podcast now. I can't even count the number of, educational workshops and stuff that I've done. I published a book, got into a Forbes article, and I'm at this number. You know what I mean?
Hey,
So
there's
it's like,
us.
oh, awesome. Yeah. So can you walk us through like what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so this is a creator page. So everyone that is out there on whether it's X or TikTok or YouTube or Reddit, you're going to have a page if you're getting some sort of engagement, right? A lot of people on social media are actually just they're just watching, right? They're not participating too much, or they're liking a couple things. So if you're one of those people, you can come and kind of check everything out, but a lot of your stuff might not be on here. But if you are a creator or someone that's constantly out there putting content into the world, you're probably going to have a page on LunarCrush. And so here's your page, and what we're looking at here. We've got a couple of different things that we can pull up: how many engagements you're getting, how many mentions
So
you're
my
getting.
engagement is up 702%.
This is 3 months of time. But what I'm showing here is the number of followers, right? So like you can see your followers are just kind of like a nice linear path up. Like if we saw someone, like I could probably go to a lot of people's pages, and what you'll see is just like these huge spikes up and these huge spikes down. Right. And so people are just buying followers or bot farms, and they're liking or engaging
Mm.
things. And then the other one is this thing called creator rank. And so what we're doing is we're looking at all the creators that we follow and what is your rank out of everyone, right? If I moused over here, I would see, here's some of the top people like Elon, right? Like Elon's crush. But I do want to just to give you a little bit of a, some flowers right now. Like you were like 999,000, like 700,000, but you can see a nice path downwards for your creator rank, and you want to be number one, right? So like if you look at it today, you were 999,000, and now you're in the top 100,000 creators that we follow. Yeah.
I've actually noticed that video content does very well. That's why I'm out here doing this with you today, trying to create more educational video content.
Yeah.
So
and look, yesterday or today, it's the 23rd. This is probably UTC, but today is the best day that your account has had in the last 3 months.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been heads down over here working and building this, so I'm surprised at that. But wow, thank you to everyone who's watching and listening. I mean, I posted a cute picture of my dog today, so if you want to show that, I mean, that's probably one of the things doing well. And now they're talking about, you know, making a ticker out of my new puppy. So
there you go. That could be a little alpha right there. Who knows?
A little alpha, Bodhi.
Yeah, yeah. But if you look at someone like Elon, you know, this is just like on a whole nother wild level. I mean, 188 million followers, 198 million followers, over a billion,
What's his creator
almost a
rank?
billion. I mean, he's normally like in the top 10 or number 1. Actually, seeing him fall to 8 is kind of interesting. He's been in the top 3. I mean, this is daily. He's been like the number 1 creator every day. He did fall to 12 here. Maybe he took a day off or like went on a boat or something. But he's usually like in the top. I mean, you know, runs the network. Like, and also with the way to think about different social media networks is with X, people are posting a lot, right? They're out there posting 30, 40 times a day because it's like it hits your timeline and then it's gone, right? So you just have to be very current.
I know.
Instagram and some of these other things, it's obviously you've got like, you know, some stuff in your feed, but
they linger more. Yeah. X is X is fast paced. It's a daily grind. Like, yeah.
Right. Yes.
Okay, question for you, Joe. Do you actually show other platforms? Is it just X? Like, can I see maybe YouTube or Instagram, or you guys solely focus on X for this?
TikTok, X, YouTube, and Reddit, you know, so you can see like Mr. Beast here on YouTube. Like obviously Mr. Beast just crushes it. A lot of times he's in the top 3, top 4. You know, the interesting thing that we do is everything you're seeing on here is all real time. And so we're ingesting anywhere from 50 to 60 million pieces of content every single hour, right? Across thousands of cryptocurrencies, thousands of stocks, different topics. We're trying to understand what's trending. All of that data gets run through large language models to understand what the sentiment is on top of that. It's organized, it's filtered for spam to try and give people the best picture of what's happening. And it's all happening in real time. So a lot of times people take these snapshots. You know, I think it was like Cointelegraph used to say like top 100 influencers like of the year voted on by our staff, right? And so it was like, that's not the crowdsource of who's actually getting, you know, engagement.
There's room for bias with that kind of, This is just an empowering tool for organizations, for individual creators. And now I want to see my rank go up. Now I want to get more active and, you know, see that number or the number go down technically. Are there like badges or different things that like, I don't know, like cool perks for creators on here?
We don't do badges or anything like that. That could be a kind of fun one. We should probably do some sort of like awards for like, you know, each coin and, you know, or each blockchain, you know,
that
it's
would
like
be fun.
I could put in, you know, like, oh, there's
put in
Mr.
Base.
Miggles.
I'd be curious to see Base too. Oh, Mr. Miggles.
Mr. Miggles. Like,
how's Mr. Miggles doing? Let's see.
Here's some of the people that have been posting about Miggles. So this is filtered by just Miggles and then like the creators. But you could put anything in here. Like you could put just like, you know, you could put Coinbase. And you're going to see who the people are that are talking about Coinbase, or here, even Coin, right? This is like more on like the stock side. So a little bit different type of influencer over here, but still, you know, a lot of people that are out there talking about it a lot on X. What are the other assets these people are talking about?
Bitcoin, Tesla, Apple. Yeah. By the way, for those listening, we are looking through LunarCrush's website right now at the top creators and, you know, filtering what they're talking about.
Yes. And once you connect to your profile, which you can, your profiles will then show up on here. So like, I'm not, you know, I don't talk about like stocks or stuff too much. I talk about the economy a lot, but in crypto, I rank like decently high. I'm not, maybe not as active as you, but if you do connect your profile, you can always see where you rank and where you kind of stand as well, if you want to show that, which is cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is really exciting. So, okay, can we kind of show people the step-by-step of how to get set up, like what this looks like for them and how they can leverage this membership?
Yeah, I mean, if you come to the site, you should be able to sign up in under 30 seconds. We've made it super easy.
I just did that, by the way, before this call. Yes. So,
yeah, you can pay with a credit card, but you can also pay. We have Coinbase Commerce integrated as well. So you can pay with Coinbase Commerce, which is great.
Awesome.
Learned some things yesterday about how, you know, people can start to pay on-chain as well with some of the tools that they're building. We did have a tool that we built. You could pay with any cryptocurrency a long time ago. It's like, I think a lot of people just build stuff on their own when they didn't have kind of like universal like things that could be accepted and integrated. And so it's great to see Coinbase doing that, especially on-chain, which is great with USDC. One thing I did want to mention, you said what can kind of creators do on
Mm-hmm.
LunarCrush. So we do have this cool tool called Creator Campaigns.
Okay.
And I think we're going to do one of these because we got a Spaces coming up here in a
Yeah,
couple of
this week.
days.
Oh my God, we got to talk about
Yeah.
this. Okay, we'll circle back. We'll circle back.
Yes. But like this is like a fun thing. So if you're a brand and oh look, Miggles joins Buzz. I don't know.
Megals,
I don't know what that
yes.
was about. There was someone did a campaign on that. But this brand did, a campaign here, and they put $1,000 up for that. And then what we do at LunarCrush is, we kind of understand what exactly people are talking about out on social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like we know exactly how many interactions happen, on your posts. And so if you wanted to participate and earn some of that $1,000 they put up, all you'd have to do is copy this content and somehow work that into a post, right? And you could have worked it into a post across X, TikTok, or Reddit. And then what creators are doing is they're going out there and posting that. And so this campaign, you can see once it went live, the campaigns are 48 hours.
Can you kind of tell what the listeners here today what you're talking about here?
Yeah, so I'm just showcasing, part of lunarcrush.com on the app, for brands to log in, and then also creators, they can log in as well. And it's a all fully like transparent public tool. It's not behind a paywall, this part of our website. And so anyone can go, because a lot of times the issue that we saw was, there's all these kind of like backdoor deals in the industry for creators, and you don't know kind of what's paid, what's not. And like, there's all this crazy stuff that goes on. We were like, how can we, in the vein of our mission of creating transparency, make it a little bit more transparent for people that want to grow, and then maybe like make it a little bit easier for creators that don't have huge followings, right, to earn for posting. Because it's, you do a bunch of posting on X, I don't know if you earn anything for your posts on X, but people, even with a lot of followers, they might get like $5 or $20 like a month for posting. Some of these people, these creators, this person earned like 1% of this. They earned like $14 for a post, one post.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so if you come in here and you're a brand and you pay $1,000, you're getting almost 200 creators talking about your brand.
Okay, interesting.
Right. And they got almost 600,000 engagements.
Wow.
And so I'm showing a graph that's moving up and to the right. And then that is, all paid out in a cryptocurrency called Buz. So Buz is, the Buz Economy. That's, what we've branded it as. And it's a launch pad. It's kind of like an accelerator as well. But basically, if people want to kind of join the Buz Economy and build, they can get access to all sorts of stuff. Get access to our API at LunarCrush, so the same API that Coinbase is using. You can get access to that. You can get access to grants. You can get access to Google Cloud credits. You get access to our team to be able to help you grow in your business. Been in the industry a long time, can help you kind of, especially early stage founders looking to make that jump into something new. I know it's a really hard thing to do. It's difficult. If you're young, you've got parents, you've got, significant others. No one wants you, it's a big risk. And so we want more people to build at the intersection of social media and AI. So our participation of that is like creator campaigns.
So, okay, looking at this right now, like I would love to get involved with something like this. So I see the end date was the 3rd. Is there anything else going on with Buz? So
we don't have a campaign right now, but we're creating, we're going to, create one for the Twitter space that we're doing. And we're constantly,
oh my God.
yeah, we'll create one for you. And we're constantly bringing in different brands. I mean, this is a brand new tool for us. We're just out there kind of testing it. It was in beta for a long time. But we're testing it. We've got a couple other tweaks that we're going to make, probably some stuff around, say you want to specifically do a campaign for people who are influential, over the word Coinbase, right? You only want people that have kind of proven that they're influential over that keyword or that topic. Those are the only people that can post about it. We're probably going to make some changes and do that. Right now, it's just like free and open. Anyone can be a part of every single campaign. And so some brands like that. They're like, hey, just throw it out to the world. And some brands would like it to be a little bit more
targeted. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Or more focused. Yeah. Yeah, Joe, I would really love to kind of circle back on more of like the visionary side of LunarCrush, right? So we talked about what it does, but what are your, like in a perfect world, right? What's your long-term vision and goals here with LunarCrush?
I mean, our mission's always just been create transparency on the internet, right? And I think, what we've seen happen, in the cryptocurrency, Web3, Bitcoin, you name it, whatever part of the industry that you're focused on is really this kind of renaissance of excitement about participating and learning, about commerce and finance. And, so for us, it's how do we be the best kind of stewards of kind of that overall mission in the industry? How do we continue to kind of support people and create this kind of transparency that investors really hadn't had? The tool that we've built at LunarCrush, there have been huge hedge funds and institutions on Wall Street have had kind of tools kind of like this that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars a year to maintain and keep up. And we've made that all available plus a lot more for people for $30 a month. And so what we're trying to do is really kind of democratize opportunity. And I feel like that's what that was the mission kind of what Bitcoin was, is to have money on the internet that was censor resistant, public money, public, free, and open money. And so for us, this is like our contribution to that is, more transparency. Yeah, but there is also this kind of like computing network that's now available in, with what happened with Ethereum, and then now all the other layer 1s and layer 2s that are out there. I just kind of see that as, competing, foundations or entities that all have this kind of equal opportunity to succeed. And at the end of the day, the one or the couple, whatever it may be, that have the best features, that have the best community, will win. And so, we're also kind of supporting that side of what's happening, because I do think it can't just be Bitcoin. As much as I love Bitcoin and most of my time is dedicated towards just like growing Bitcoin, we do have this other side of the house that's so important with commerce. And, the ability to kind of build with smart contracts is just gigantic. And so we'd kind of like be aloof if we said that, hey, we're just going to ignore that side of what's going on and like just focus on Bitcoin. So kind of long-winded answer to, LunarCrush is like our participation in that and creating transparency and supporting founders and supporting, like I was mentioning before, I've done 150, podcasts and brought new founders and different things on, like talking about Sandeep.
So we talked a lot about transparency. We haven't touched on community all that much. And I want to hear your thoughts on, the kind of culture of LunarCrush and what you all do in the community sense, the IRL events, coming out to Berkeley to this mansion to help onboard 30 entrepreneurs to Coinbase Commerce. Like, you obviously have a passion for community and for people. So can you tell me a bit more about LunarCrush's stance on like IRL events and getting involved in the community?
Yeah, I mean, we've always participated in, events in the industry over the years, from the Bitcoin conferences to just like the kind of the more broad general conferences. I mean, the first place that I met one of our first investors, I mean, Alon runs the LA Blockchain Summit back in the day, right? And it was just going out and just like trying to bump into people, right? Especially early on, like when no one knew what LunarCrush was. And, people, it's like they take you more seriously when you go and you actually just like show up. Like I remember driving 3.5 hours across like LA at just the off chance that I would maybe talk to him at one of his events, because I was like, that was the only person I was like, oh, that person's running that conference. That's the only person I knew in the industry that was like kind of local at all, that knew anything that was going on. I was like, okay, I need to somehow like find my way to like continue to bump into that person. And so you just have to take those risks, and you don't know what's going to happen when you get down with people in real life. And so you just have to go for it. And so we've always, try to do our best with getting out there, talking to people, whether it's like small meetups or just getting on a plane really quick. Like you just have to see people. And, like I said, I was just at this event at Cape Canaveral listening to like the US ambassador to Switzerland, and then the White House communications director. And like they said, like relationships are everything. And then yesterday, it's funny, just being a couple days later, sitting up with you guys in Berkeley, Jesse and everyone's talking about it's all about relationships. Right. And I think we kind of lose that a little bit in this, like you and I right now are like, we're kind of in the metaverse a little bit. Right.
Yeah. We are behind screens. And I love the fact that you were willing to hop on a plane and just come out here. Like I had like a 30-minute call with you. We hit it off and I was like, hey, I'm going to have Jesse Chintan, the head of legal and litigation for Coinbase, all in one place, onboarding all these entrepreneurs. And for those of you listening and watching, Joe was just like, yeah, I'm in. Like, I feel like we need more of that in the space, right? People who are just hungry to show up and build relationships and get involved. And Joe is that guy. I mean, that ultimately gave me a lot of faith in LunarCrush, because when you look at the founders, like when you look at Jesse Pollock, for instance, the ones that are showing up in the community who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty and come out and build the relationships, I have so much more respect for those founders, because it makes everything more real when you can see the person, when you can shake their hand, when you can give them a hug. So Joe, it was so so great kicking it with you. And yeah, I'm grateful for you coming on today. I just want to kind of give it back to you and share, final thoughts, final calls to actions, resources, like how can folks, get in touch with you or get involved with LunarCrush. And yeah, we'll close out after that.
Yeah, I mean, my DMs are always open, right? So if you're like early stage founder, someone out there in the industry, you're trying to kind of find your ways and figure out what's going on, like happy to, shoot a couple of DMs back and forth with you and tell you kind of how to get started. Also, if you're out there, you're an investor, you're a marketer, you're a creator, you're someone that has your pulse, on social media and what's going on, and that's kind of your day to day. Check out lunarcrush.com. It's a place where we've got, tens of thousands of different topics, real-time data that's going to get you, ahead of the curve. And if you're looking for alpha, it's definitely there. And then if you're a developer out there building and you're like, I really need like some price data. I need API data for social media, and I want to build this cool kind of social media AI kind of driven thing. Our API is out there for you, and it's available whether, you're just going to be a customer of ours or you want to join the Buz Economy and get access to a little bit, more than just the data. You've got resources and people behind that. So yeah, if you're out there and you want to be a part of what's going on, check out lunarcrush.com or hit me up in the DMs just at Joe Vez on X.
Awesome. Joe, it was such a pleasure today getting to work with you on this podcast. And I love your energy. I love what you're doing. And I know for me, this is already a useful tool just to see the trajectory of, my following and my growth. It's just like, okay, now that I can see the numbers and the data, it's a good feeling to know how you're doing and be able to track it. So thank you for giving me that gift today. It was really awesome.
Of course. And thanks so much for having me on. This has been fun.
Absolutely. Okay. For all of our listeners here today, all the links will be in the description for you to connect with Joe, go to LunarCrush and get connected with Buz Economy. And again, thank you so much for you listeners watching Onchain Media today or listening. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.